So now let's talk. Today's topic is self-redevelopment. The reason for speaking on topic is probably not all advocates can speak on this topic, but I am in this field for last 25 years, and I've been seeing the redevelopment which I saw rather what started somewhere in 1988, and it was at that point of time more in the area of zoo and car and that area. And that at that point of time, they used to construct a building on existing building. So that's how I know about it. Okay. So now let's start. I first of all thank you for attending this webinar, spending your time, valuable time which you are spending for hearing this. And I'm sure end of the day you are going to understand what are the pros and cons of self-redevelopment. My name is Girish Rao. I'm having around 27 years of experience in this field. I'm an advocate and solicitor. So now let's begin. And before I begin, I'm requesting everyone, because all this recording will be also put on the YouTube channel also. So kindly subscribe to the YouTube channel. Already there are many videos on that, which are informative video. And if you want anything more, kindly put me on my WhatsApp group also. Okay. So now let's start today's topic at self-redevelopment. Why it has become redevelopment has become important? Because the experience which many people are having with the developer, it takes a development right, creates many third-party rights. I mean to say, he sells many of the flats and then he accepts money and then often disappears. To a certain extent, that issue has been reduced. I will say only reduced little bit due to RERA, but not completely gone. It has reduced comparatively. But still, there are many instances where developer take development right, they are unable to complete the project. And the members, those are the original members, are on the street, they are out of their house. And I will blame both parties for that, members also equally and the societies also. Members I will blame for this reason, because they were not that cautious enough while choosing the builder. And my always suggestion is that check his background properly. Another thing is that because someone is giving much better, I mean to say much better early, more area, more benefit, just don't go after it. Maybe he is not going to give you ultimately the flat. So all those things has to be taken care of. Of course, whenever a client come to discuss this issue, I always advise many things. So some of things is this. So now let's understand start with our today's topic is self-redevelopment. So I will also share my screen on that. All of you are able to see this? Yes. Put yes in the chat box. So now when we are talking about the redevelopment, so what is a redevelopment? As we all know, basically is that you are going to demolish your existing building and then construct a new building. That is what basically is a redevelopment of a building. Why you are doing it? Because see, just I don't know. Difficulty with this Zoom, this thing is that it is through a learning management software. So I can't initially put everyone into mute. Okay, but request everyone to keep yourself in the mute mode. Yeah. Now coming back to the topic, that basically is that because your building has become old or dilapidated, so you want to do the redevelopment of building. That is the normal reason. But it is not necessary that it has become old, so you have to do redevelopment. A society as an owner, if decides that even after 2 years of constructing new building, they can demolish and go for redevelopment. So there is nothing hard and fast rule that building has to be dilapidated, only then society can go for redevelopment. Because it's at the end of the day, society is the owner and they can go anytime at the redevelopment. There would be a certain restriction. If a society has taken a benefit of certain rules and regulation of just while speaking, it's coming to my mind of MADA, which at particular point they were giving a benefit of suppose 2 FSI or something like that. Means on either existing FSI which was consumed, I think 30% something. I'm talking about some old rule, some 20% benefit. So again, if they do after redevelopment, after maybe 5 years, again they are not going to get the same benefit. So there will be certain restriction. But yes, for redevelopment as such per se, there cannot be any restriction. So what is the normal process? Is that process was that a society appoints a builder, and builder does redevelopment work, and he gives certain flats to the member which were original members, and he sells remaining flat. And the flat which are given to the member, depending upon the area, location, and negotiation, everything, the builder may give additional area, builder will give corpus fund, alternate accommodation, etc. And also and a new flat with additional area. And remaining flat he will sell, out of which he will recover the amount which he has spent for reconstruction of a building, and also his profit. This is the normal process when we go for redevelopment. That is also circular issued, not circular. It's a resolution of the government in 2000, I think July 2019. There is a difference because earlier circular, it was a circular of 2008, if I'm not mistaken. That was a circular, and now what is issued is a resolution. There will be a lot of difference. This issue has not come before any court up to now, but as and when it comes, there could be a discussion on this, because there is a lot of difference with circular and resolution of the government. This is not a topic today, but just I am telling you because people are giving all opinion and judgment on the basis of earlier, which was circular. Now it is a resolution of the government. That will require a deeper lot of discussion on that. But that is not today's topic. I am not discussing that too much. So there is a process which is defined. What is the process which you have to follow? I am doubtful how many of them are following all those things. But there is a process which is given. Now, in case of redevelopment, means what? Self-redevelopment. It's a society which is going to redevelop its own property. So owner himself is going to develop a property. That is basically a redevelopment of the self-redevelopment. It's owner. Society is a owner. They are going to start the redevelopment of their own property. Right. When society is doing the redevelopment, then what is a procedure? First is what is a procedure I will discuss. And then what are the pros and cons? Because it's easy to tell self-redevelopment. I am hearing a lot. Honestly, I have not seen any of the self-redevelopment. There could be one I heard, so few society has done it, but I have not seen it. So I don't have any first-hand knowledge of any society doing any redevelopment work. Let me be very clear on that. And as I go ahead, you will understand why maybe they are wiser of not going it. So now let's see. Self-redevelopment means society is going to do the redevelopment. So when society is going to do its own redevelopment of their own building, what is the procedure which has to be followed? So first thing which I will suggest is check your object clause of the bylaws. I was trying to check with the model bylaw. First is that it doesn't allow, that's the model bylaw which I came across, I saw. You might be having some different bylaws. First, check whether your bylaws allows you to do the redevelopment. That's the first and most important this fact. If not, if there is no provision for redevelopment, sorry, self-redevelopment, see, it's not only self-redevelopment. You will also have to incorporate your right to sell the flat, because probably, depending upon the fact to fact is, you are going to construct the same building for your own members with more area or whatever reason. If that could be one, you could be selling. What would be happening is that, suppose you have a flat, you have a building of 20 flats. Because of the rule change and all those things, you will be able to develop a new building which could be of 40 flats, and your existing member could be having, suppose you were earlier having 800 square feet flat. Under the redevelopment, your members are getting suppose 1000. Just for discussion, I am saying hypothetically. So you are going to develop a building which consists of 40 flat of 1000 square feet. So you are going to sell those 20 flats. So whether you have an authority to sell in this your bylaws, all those you check it. If not, then you modify your bylaw, change the object clause, do the additional clause. It is not going out of way, but you will have to do all those things in your changes in your bylaws. If you are not doing it, and tomorrow if you land up in the litigation, then you may have a difficulty. Even the income tax authority may also create a problems for you. So first is check your model bylaw, which your bylaws you are having, whether it is allowing you to do the self redevelopment. If not, make an amendment to it. So is this clear up to now what I spoke? If clear, just type CLER, clear. Okay, Jay. Good. Others, I want you to be interactive. I'll be also giving you an opportunity to speak. Yeah, if you have a question. Today, Rakesh is not there, who is my colleague, but Pallavi is there. She will be monitoring everything. And just, I think I have not made her as a co-host. Just hold on. Just hold on. Yeah. So I want you to be interactive. Speak means when I are putting in the chat, so that I understand. I'm not speaking to wall, so that I understand what's going on. If you are not followed, kindly put in the chat box. Okay. So first part is that you have to ensure that there is a clear cut clause in your object clause to do the self redevelopment. Then second part is that obviously that everyone might have done when you are going for redevelopment, means check whether you are owner, whether you have a conveyance in your favor. If not, then get that done. Now there are circulars, some notification has been issued that redevelopment, if you are going for redevelopment, conveyance will be granted within 1 month. I don't know practically how it's going to be. I don't know. So let's see how it works. I feel it's difficulty on the face of it. But if the government wants to do it, government can do it, many of the things. But then also it will give rise to many of the litigation. If you don't follow the proper procedure, if you don't give an opportunity to someone else to put his case and then pass an order, then it's going to give rise to the unnecessary rise to the litigation, which can be avoided. Nothing is going to fall down within 1 month, but within few months, maybe 2 months. 2 months, 3 months, by giving proper opportunity. I fail to understand within 1 month how things are going to work. Let's see that later on. Now, so second part is having a conveyance in your favor. Now, the most and important part when you are going for self redevelopment is you should have a proper project management consultant who should make a proper report about your project. What does the proper report of the project means he has to, when making a report, what is the permitted FSI should be clearly mentioned in that, which should include all kind of FSI, fungible FSI, loading permitted lead, how much TDR will be permitted, what all other beneficial FSI, whatever the FSI, whatever the permission, which or whatever FSI that could be available to the property, that should be one aspect. That is normally always in the PMC's report will be there. So on basis of that, you will come to know what is the how much construction a society can do. Then this is which is very important, and many of the project report it is not there. I will not say not all, but many of that it will not be that. Approximate cost of construction of the building, the structure which you propose to do. Why? Because now you as a owner are going to take a decision. So when you are going to take a decision, this all this data should be available to you from someone who is there actually on the field, that is an architect. Then additional part which will have to be added to the project management PMC's report is the rate at which a flat can be sold in that area. Not necessarily that is a part on, I will say technically part of project management. But then if you are going for a redevelopment, you should have the data so that approximately what is the rate going on. Thereafter, you will have to calculate the cost of the construction, then how much flats you will have to sell to cover your flat construction cost, and then what will be available for you. These are the data which you will have to have in front of you while making a conscious decision of self redevelopment. Unless this data is available, you will not be able to decide what is the fund which will be required and to what extent it will be required. That you won't be able to decide it, right? It's very excellent actually doing. I will, if given option, I will always prefer doing my own redevelopment of my own building. But then you should have all this proper data, otherwise you will land up in difficulty. So that you will have to get it done properly, scrutinize it, cross scrutinize it before you take any step for redevelopment. Any questions so far? And if no, say no question or just say clear. Any
There are two
question?
questions on the chat, sir.
Okay. Can you unmute them? Madhuri Vange, please clear us what you mean by bylaw has to allow redevelopment. Yeah, Madhuri, basically your object of the society is defined by the object clause in the bylaw. It defines what you are going to do. What is your object? Like you give a similarly like a companies. Object clause will define what that company can do, what kind of business that company can do. A real estate company tomorrow cannot start telecom industries. They will have to make their changes in the object clause by object clause. So tomorrow, if there is no provision for doing self redevelopment in the object clause, then you will have to change or make an amendment. So that is what the meaning of object. There has to be a provision in the bylaws. In bylaws, there is one clause which says the object of the society. So what is your object of the society? That you will have to check. Normally, it is a maintenance and maintaining your building. But doing self development and all those things may not be there. Selling the flats will not be there. So make a changes. Why you don't leave it open for someone to challenge? Anything else, Madhuri? Madhuri? Anyone else, Pallavi?
There's a question on how to make the amendment.
How to make an amendment? You will have to. There is a procedure stated in the rules of the society rule. Basically, you will have to pass a resolution. This resolution in the special general body meeting, and after resolution is passed, you will have to get it approved from the registrar of the society. But there is a procedure meeting how it has to be conducted. It's given in detail in the rules of the society rules. Even I think bylaw also contains that. Okay. So shall I proceed? Yeah, that is the procedure. It's not just passing of the resolution. You will have to thereafter get it approved from the registrar also. Why that is a object? You are changing object of the society. Okay. So now let's understand. I told you that this is what PMC report and all those things. Then when we are talking about the redevelopment, let's understand what are the pros and what are the cons. You are taking a major step and going for redevelopment of a building, and you are doing it, rather you are desire to do it yourself. So now let's understand what are the pros. So what is the pros of self redevelopment? First, obviously, society is in control of whole process. How to develop, which way it should be. Whole process is in the hands of society, without any interference from external external person like builder. So society is in total control. Now when society is doing redevelopment, obviously all the profit which otherwise would have gone to the developer would come to the society, and end of the day society, that's its member, which will be beneficial, obviously. And again, society will not be at a mercy of a third party, that is the developer. So basically, you are in control of whole system and you will be able to complete the redevelopment work. You will get more additional area which otherwise builder would have given you. So these are excellent, this thing, the pros of this. But at the same time, you have to also understand what is the con. That's a negative side of. Because this looks very rosy. I'm not here to discourage you from doing the redevelopment. But when you start redevelopment, you have to also look at the other side of it, which we will explore it now. First part is that you may not have an expertise for doing the construction work. It is not a rocket science, certainly. You require a little bit of intelligence and little of planning. It's not a rocket science. But then you should know how the whole the process or system work. Why I'm talking is expertise, that you require a particular expertise with the local authority, that means municipal authorities. If I'm not mistaken, I think 81 types of different permission has to be taken when you are constructing a building. Maybe a few 10 years there, but 81 type of permission you have to take. So developers were making representation by, they have formed a what their committee is of doing business with the, and so making representation to the state of Maharashtra government. So there are 81 or something like that, maybe 70, maybe even 50, forget everything more or less, maybe even 50 permission. That permission you will have to take. whether you are capable to do it. That is one of the things which you will require. Maybe you will have to grease palm of some of the places. So all that permissions which you will require, for that it will require expertise which you may be lacking. Then second part comes is the members. Invariably there would be some member who could be, or who will rather, wants to create an obstruction. I will give you one example. Suppose in a building, out of building, two members are not ready to vacate. What are you going to do? How many of you have seen the judgments of the High Court where the court has directed non-cooperative member who was not vacating the flat to vacate the flat? How many of you have seen, heard? Just hold on. Huh? Put in the chat box. Yes, heard. Okay, Jayesh. See, all those judgments and order are passed in the arbitration proceeding, where the court has ordered them to vacate the premises. Because you will realize that in all those, invariably in all the matters, there was an arbitration clause. Developer invoked arbitration proceeding and invoked High Court jurisdiction, and High Court, rightly so, directed uncooperative member to vacate the flat. But when you are doing self-redevelopment, you won't be able to adopt that procedure. I have my own doubt whether you will have to file a suit, regular suit in the civil court, or you have to go to the cooperative court. 90% I say cooperative court, but there is no decision or a judgment, authoritative judgment of any court on this issue. So we don't know how court is going to look at it. And it is one of the major obstruction which, if a member doesn't vacate the premises. If it's a MHADA, then I think 91 or 92, that proceeding, or 101, I don't recollect now, that proceeding can be taken for vacating the premises. But otherwise, it's not going to easy to remove uncooperative member from its flat. So when, if you are doing, every one of you are on the same page, then you will be able to do it. So that part also take into the consideration. So shall I proceed? You have any query? Yes. Okay. Now, second part is finance. When we are talking of self-redevelopment, then again the question may arise of the finance to do the redevelopment. When we are doing through the developer, just excuse me. When we are doing through the developer, finance part is going to taken care by you, by the developer. But when you are doing it, you have to arrange for your own alternate accommodation. You are not going to get any corpus fund. You are not going to get any amount for shifting. So all those resources which will have otherwise would have been provided will have to be self-provided. You will have to provide it. That's going to be the biggest challenge on hurdle. Whether bank will give you loan, that is also doubtful. The latest circular is, I think, of I think April or some April 2023 on the redevelopment of RBI. So again, reading what there is, at least I am not very clear whether it will be, whether the banks will be giving you the loan. And even if bank is giving, how is going to recover it? What is the procedure which will be adopted? Then that is also a doubtful procedure. If members decide, let's take an example, members decide that members are going to contribute to the society for making the redevelopment. Then whether all members will be eligible for the loan. If not, what is the process society can do or way out? See, I am talking, all these are hypothetical situations. When you are sitting with each and individual society, there could be many things can be worked out. It is not, it can't be worked out. But these are the issues which a society is going to face when they decide that they are going to go for redevelopment of the society. If there is no finance, everything will come to a standstill. Because when you are going for self redevelopment, one of the way is to generate fund is that to sell the flat, start selling the flat like the builders do. But for that purpose, you will have to get minimum is commencement certificate, and thereafter you will have to register your project with the Maharera. Because moment you are selling the flat, you become a promoter, so you will have to register the project with Maharera. So one more obligation which will come on the society is that of fulfilling the obligation under the RERA. Again, I am telling you, I am not dissuading you from not going in redevelopment, but I am telling you the process which you have to follow, which are the precautions which you have to take. Consider those aspects when you are redevelopment. Redevelopment 100% sure is going to be far more beneficial to you rather than giving it to the developer. And I will always promote the redevelopment. Other part which society will have to consider is that who is going to be there in operation and management of the society. See, even if it's a small building of maybe 6-7 floor, it will take at least 1 year to 1.5 years to complete the building. So there will have to be at least 2-3 members who are they are just supervising it. So you will have to give a remuneration of maybe lakh or a few lakh or something like that, the person who will be supervising everything. That you will have to have a trust on your member. So that you will have to ensure that you have a trust on a member who you are paying some additional remuneration so that he can supervise it. So you will have to be practical in all those aspects when you are going for redevelopment. Give some maybe monthly lakh rupees or whatever it is. That's the term which a lakh has come from a mouth. But fix some amount when you are going for redevelopment. Pay him so that he concentrate on the work. Ensure that he is an honest person. Concentrate on the work so that he gets that work done from the contractor. End of the day, not builder, but you will have to appoint contractor for doing all the things. You will have to deal with various types of contractor. One who will be doing the structure of the building. There will be painting contractor. There will be electrical contractor. There will be plumbing contractor. So various contractors, you will have to deal with it. First and foremost thing is that you will have to make out list of X, Y, Z. What are the things which you have to done? What are the type of contract who you are going to give? Like I just told you, painting contract. There are at least I think you will require at least around 10 to 12 contractor. Your carpenter will be another one. So different contractor, different kind of work which they do. So at least 10 to 12 different kind of contractor which you will require. So you will have to make out a list of those contractor. Maybe you will have to also invite a quotation because he's being a society. Even now builders also invite the quotation. You will also invite a quotation for that purpose. So you will have to deal with those people also. With builder, they are aware that they will get a more business, so they may be lenient, but society they may not be lenient, but at the same time they will have a trust in the society because society like a builder may not say that today I don't have money, I'm not going to pay or all those things. So there are again a pros and cons, but then you will have to deal with all those aspects when you are going for redevelopment. You will have to make clear cut all this provision for all those things, how you are going to deal with it. So that is a one part which when you are making a decision for redevelopment. Then what else? Yeah. So this is basically what my presentation, which I think it's a quite brief presentation, is that when you are doing for redevelopment, consider all these aspects. How you are going to do redevelopment, what are the benefits which you are going to get. After that, take a decision on redevelopment. Then when you are selling the flats, what flats you are going to sell. Advantage which you have is that when you are doing redevelopment, you can decide, a society can decide out of 40 flats, I have just given example, hypothetical example. Out of those 40 flats, which 20 flats you are going to keep it with yourself and which 20 flat you are going to sell. But when you are at the mercy of the developer, you will have no choice. But no choice in the sense, of course, society negotiate properly and get the appropriate flat for them. But then again, you are at the mercy of someone, sorry, mercy of someone who will decide which flat should be given. So these are the few cons and few advantages when you are going for redevelopment. So you decide how, whether you want to go for redevelopment, then what are the pros and what are the cons apart from what I have discussed it. There could, because this is a very relative question, whether it should you go for redevelopment or not. And it will have to be decided taking into consideration case to case basis. So I had a client few days back who told that hardly profit will be around 3 crore rupees. So somewhere around 20 these thing flats were there. So that was not worth going for self redevelopment. So they wanted to go for through the developer only. So you will have to decide it taking into consideration what are the benefit, what are the losses, what are the advantages, what are the disadvantages before going for redevelopment, self redevelopment. So that's what I wanted to speak on the topic of self redevelopment. If you have any questions, I am open for that. Okay, now it's open for you to questions. Okay, there I can see in the chat. SEMA society. Even when we are doing just interior work of our flat, it does not go as per the plan. There are delay, cost overrun, changes in plan, etc. When we go to take accountability of construction, sales, regulatory management, finance, etc., will not be very difficult for lay people. Also, one question, will it not be legal risk on the committee member if things go awry with the committee member be blamed or held accountable? Yes. Yes, Seema, that is a precise thing. That is what precise one question which I told you means. One thing which I told you was that committee member, because there will be always a person, not all societies maybe, but there will be always a few member who are dissatisfied member, and they themselves will create an obstruction. Not necessarily the committee is responsible for that, but they will create an obstruction and then blame the committee member. So there will always be all these difficulties will be there. So it will have to be decided case to case basis whether you want to go to redevelopment or you cannot don't want to go redevelopment. Nothing is foolproof. If you give to a developer, may not be, may not complete. There are 50% of the buildings which are under redevelopment and unfortunately are not completed. I know some buildings which are for last 10 years, it is not, the construction is not complete, which could have completed within 2 to 3 years. So there are all plus and minuses for everything. So that is a conscious call which will have to be taken by the society. You will have to also have a trust in your managing committee. Managing committee also will have to take some proactive step for if they want to do self redevelopment. Yes, Devidas, unless conveyance is that you are not an owner of the property. Moment you bring down your structure, I'm sure first thing is that the local authority, the municipal authority you will have to give an undertaking that you are a owner X, Y, Z, all those things. They may not pass your plan unless you are owner. Assuming they pass the plan for X, Y, Z reason, and moment your building is brought down, the owner will come running, that whoever is the owner of the plot of land, that this is my property. So nothing doing, no, don't do anything unless there is a conveyance in favor of the society. Naneshwar, I am not sure about FSI part. Does FSI is more for self redevelopment? I am not sure about that. I will have to check in the development regulation. Not sure about it. Could be, I am not sure. And doubt, I have do my doubt. I have doubt because in that case, what would all the builders will do is that they will show all the project as redevelopment, self redevelopment project, and we as an advocate give them a via media how to show it as a self redevelopment project. And for that purpose, additional FSI, I don't think it will be given. I doubt. But if it is there, I don't know. I'm not sure about it. Bylaws are very old. You will have to check and get this amendment done. It can't be, your bylaws cannot be old because of after amendment to the constitution, I think 2012 or 10, to amendment to the Constitution of India, it is mandatory that bylaws has to be in sync with the Constitution of India. So your bylaws cannot be very old. It has to be in 2012 or 14, or you have failed to get it amended as per the new bylaw. Okay, what is this, Padmesh Joshi? There is a circular Ministry of Defense regarding redevelopment near military establishment. Can that circular be overridden by for the case of seeking permission? No. Padmesh, whenever the property is in periphery of certain defense property, you have to take a no objection certificate from even the defense ministry. If not, so that's what I'm saying. It depends upon where your property is situated. If it is situated from the near the airport, then there will be also height restriction. So there are many other aspect comes when you are doing for redevelopment and all those things. So what are the things permission which will be required? You will have to be taken out, taken a reply, make a proper list of that. That is what in this particularly when we are talking self-development, PMC will have to play a quite major role than the normal in the redevelopment which we are talking otherwise, which is being done by the builder. Yeah, Ulka. Yes, deemed conveyance, there is no difference between conveyance and deemed conveyance. In the sense, normally what happens in a conveyance, owner transfer the property to the seller, means vendor gives it to seller. Vendor is the owner. But in deemed conveyance, what happens? Because owner is not giving, the seller is giving that proper, not seller, I'm sorry. The registrar, who is called as competent authority under section 3 of the section 3 subsection 11 of the MOFA, he will be making a conveyance in favor of the society. But society becomes owner. So technically, otherwise, there is no difference. Society becomes owner of the property, whether it is given by landlord or it is given by the competent authority. See, Madhuri, that depends upon the PMC, whether he will take responsibility of raising finance. That all depends upon the PMC. If some PMC is doing that work, well and good. But end of the day, all those things also will require a security. See, last few years, there is another model called this thing, construction management model, which developers are doing. Some of the reputed developers are doing that. Could be even that process can be also explored. Construction management model. Even Godrej, a reputed developer like Godrej, Tata, I'm not sure, but Godrej is doing in that model. Even Shapurji, Palanji is doing in that model. So they are doing that model, but I have my own reservation, because reason behind is that I have on my reservation if I'm advising to the developer, because I don't have clarity what happens if some dispute starts and the landlord walks out or creates a obstruction. So I don't know. So, but these are the things which will have to be explored. Yeah. What else is how development manager? Yeah, that's what. Sorry, and it has come by Naneshwar sir. Development manager concept. That's what I was talking. It can also come. Yes, Seema, right. Intend to get the builder to do it expertise. Yes, yeah, good that you people yourself took up that topic. Yeah, basically that development manager model itself I was talking just now can be explored. It will be beneficial for both. And particularly, according to if you ask me, is much beneficial to the society. To, to, to quite a certain extent, technically, I mean to say on the paper, everything is controlled by the society on the paper. But builder is at the same time secured, because what happens is that normally in this kind of agreement, builder charges around 10 to 12% of the sale price. I'm talking in a normal case, which means all the flats are available for sale. In this case, maybe in society case, maybe financially it will have to work out what percentage you will be charging. But developer to certain extent is very safe, because he will not have to be bothered about anything. But developer may help you with the financial part. What happens is that why majority of the development model is successful often is that because the developer is in dominant position to control the landlord. If developer is not dominant to control the landlord, I doubt whether project can be completed, because 101 problem a landlord can create. But because some of the developers are very reputed and very large, the landlord has limited say in that. So they are successful, at least they are doing it. So that is something which certainly can be taken into consideration when you are going out for development management model. And certainly you should explore it. depending upon your property. Yeah. I told you non-cooperative member Devidas. When society goes to raise the finance for redevelopment, we'll have in yes, no bank is normally going to give you any mortgage unless you any money unless you provide them a security. Otherwise, it will become a personal loan and interest will be far more. I think 14-15% or something like that. I told Devidas of non-cooperative member. There is nothing, but you will have to file a suit or maybe dispute application. And the courts are very, very slow when they pass in any interim order in such kind of things. Okay. Any more question? Anyone's? If that we will unmute you, and so that you can ask orally. You can raise your hand so that Pallavi will unmute you. Okay? No questions? I forgot one thing. Yes, sorry. Again. If you are like this, kindly give a good testimonial of this session so that I can have much more session on this kind of topic. And yeah, Madhuri coming back to you. And also subscribe to my YouTube channel where this will also be uploaded on the YouTube also, this today's session also in couple of days. So subscribe to the YouTube channel. YouTube channel's name is also Legal Scholar Academy. And kindly subscribe it. I will put another video in the meantime so that you can subscribe. So as and when you get, as and when this new video is uploaded, you will get this thing. I mean to say, you will get the notification of it. Yeah, Madhuri, bolo.
Yes, we have been to one PhD for
Huh.
a development. And
Huh. Your voice is means. Yeah,
okay,
please.
now can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So what see all the sellable flats will be sold by the bank. He will arrange for the loan, loan, but the banks will sell the. the society will have to sell the flats to the bank at 30% rate of the market rate. So and then the banks will be giving the finance and they will recover that their funds by selling the flats.
Okay.
And society will get only 30% of the market price of the sellable flats. That is in
okay.
So is it true?
No, I don't know if some bank is ready to do it, but what I heard once upon a time was that banks are not, they are not permitted by, I don't know whether it's true or false, but banks are not permitted to acquire the property. So that is the reason they take all premises on the rent. I don't know. I'm not sure about it, but that's what a couple of bank officers told me. So I don't know. See, this is something now always a financial matter. It is case to case, it will differ. If someone bank is offering, so you will have to also understand when you take a loan from the bank, you have to pay an interest. Suppose interest is a minimum nowadays is 10 to 12% is the interest rate which you will have to pay. So suppose you are doing your reconstruction takes suppose even 2 years, that means 24%, maybe by doing reducing balance, you will pay at least end up paying at least 15-20% as an interest to the bank. So all those financial calculation at a micro level, you will have to do it before you go to the redevelopment, self redevelopment. So you'll have to consider all those pros and cons. Okay. Anything else? Yeah. So shall we stop today? Yes. Thank you, all of you, for attending this webinar. I appreciate that you have spent your valuable time who understand something new aspect about the self-redevelopment. And I hope I have fulfilled your expectation by addressing the issues which you might be having in your mind. Still, after this, if you have any query, you can put in the chat box of the group which we have formed, and I'm sure I will try and reply to this query. Okay. Thank you. Bye bye. Good night. Bye bye.